Who is your competition?
As far as a room where we're hosting only non-alcoholic drinks and craft beverages, there's not one. People have a small dedicated section. I was actually just on a project with a tasting room where I designed their mocktail menu because people are like, if it's not there, we don't want to go. And if we encourage people to have designated drivers, what do we just want them to pull up in their cute outfits and drink water? So at that bar, we proposed if you have a designated driver, they drink craft mocktails all night for free. The competition is not really weird. The only other competition might be like the Kava Elixir lounges, which we won't carry Kava or Kratom, so we're one of a kind.
What you said you've been in the hospitality industry for a while. What is your experience?
So I'll be 31 this year, and I started at 15 because I was a young mom, so they didn't serve alcohol. I got to wait at an early age.
Yeah.
By the time I was 18, I was in full corporate. By the time I was 19, I managed my first bar, and ever since then I've done private events, catering, fine dining, train the trainers. So for OSI, which is Blooming Brands, Outback and all that stuff, I taught people how to train people on alcohol, how to wait on tables, and I just fell in love with it. I'm from the South. It's kind of love it.
It's really good experience.
Thank you.
Really good.
If you haven't clearly identified your competition, what do you feel is your true competitive advantage with this product in this landscape?
Execution. I think that I have enough knowledge to convert your everyday craft cocktail experience seamlessly into a non-alcoholic one because of my education in the product itself. So I would know if this is a tasty alternative or if it's not because I could side by side any other spirit. Same with local breweries. I know at least 3 or 4 right now that have their own in a local beer that people would love to. There's so many recovering alcoholics in this town, and if AA didn't have to hide in a church and be ashamed of themselves, I bet I would have a group right there that'd be more than happy to come out and feel like they're a part of the community again.
So do you want to start this in your own location, or you gonna be co-branding with somebody else, or are you gonna just sell the drinks for somebody else to serve? What is kind of the initial go-to-market strategy?
My first initial go-to-market strategy would be for me to do a private event where we have 10 RSVP and we showcase and do tastings at like a venue or in a backyard somewhere very down to earth, cushions, this, that, boho setting, you see it. Next thing that we could do, I have somebody who's going to be opening a gallery soon, and we want to be able to be called out as like basically like a caterer, as you would call a caterer for food. We're going to come and we're going to put on, or a mobile bar. It could be a mobile bar too. I'm just not serving alcohol. So you come and I can put together a package for how many guests. And I would hope by this time next year that we can get a bar front and then move to the rest of the branches after that. Because
So
I want it
basically
to be seat to sit as well.
Okay,
It's
cool.
sustainable.
So you want to start basically just event-based?
Yes.
How you want to introduce the whole thing to the market in general?
Yes,
Is that correct?
I have a private business now that I do that's very small, not off the ground, where I subcontract myself and I do wedding receptions, I do events where if somebody wants to hire a bartender. So I already have a network for that. And
Very
so when somebody asks me what I do, I say I specialize in non-alcoholic cocktails and infused beverages because I practice herbology at home. I just haven't found a good degree for it. I don't think that you can really get credentialed from veterinary herbs, at least in this country.
So do you have already a list or some kind of menu of these specialized non-alcoholic drinks?
That's
With they
the niche
specific, very sexy names?
Well, the thing is would be, I definitely have a recipe book. And the next thing is with the ready to drink cans and spirits.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird and tricky on how I'm allowed to serve those at certain venues. So it would really, the first couple ones would have to be private until we get through this hemp jump where we figure out what we're allowed to carry, serve on premises for consumption. If you hire me, here's this. Here's my shopping list. This is what my guests and I want to experience. I go and handle it, and we go to your home, and that's
So licensing is
really
not,
someone else's business.
so the licensing is not clear, what kind of license you need for this?
No, to carry it in a store like if I was a gas station, a smoke shop, or a restaurant, because sometimes you'll see them on little tiny, there's a 2 COP, it's kind of like a liquor license, or a tobacco, liquor license is up here, and then like tobacco license. there's now like a 2 COP where you're allowed to carry the ready to drink ones, but they're not allowed to be consumed on site unless you have like a food and beverage license as well.
Mhm.
So if it's not a private event and it's in a public venue, I would have to get insurance, which is what I do for my events anyway. I just get insurance for up to heads and liability for each one, depending on how big they are. And then right now, that's basically been the hardest part, is knowing who's my supplier gonna be. Is it gonna be through like RNDC and Southern, because they are the alcohol distributors, and I think that they're gonna get those accounts, because it's like a monopoly with that. There's only like 4 distributors, and you can only get alcohol from those 4 people, and if your account's not big enough, then you kind of get stuck to the bottom of the list. So there's the tasting room also became their own distributors. So I'm hoping that they'll help me carry those products and become my supplier.
So how expensive and how difficult to get those kinds of licenses?
The 2 COP, very inexpensive, very easy, because people don't
Okay.
really know what they're doing with it.
Okay.
I think that my business is one of a kind, so it's gonna take some lawyering papers and a couple different talks to the agricultural department and a couple different things. It's though that specifically consumption on site and distribution is very, very technical right now because it's all in the news.
Okay.
So they're obtainable, but whether you're doing it right and not gonna have anybody, chasing your coattails is another story.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes.
When you start a business, are you gonna do something like private speakeasies or something like that? I know
Heck
people
yeah,
serve
girlfriend.
alcohol. Okay, yeah.
Heck
I know they
yeah.
serve alcohol, but they do have events too.
What I want to do is when you enter our location, I want you to be able to be waited on by somebody who's educated, and they're going to ask you, what kind of experience do you want to have today or tonight? And you can decide, because not a lot of people, some people still have urine analysis, so it's whether it's risking their job, and I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable or like they're at risk to get the wrong one. Be specific glassware, wristbands, so there's no mixing that up, just like if you were like celiac and we had to change our gloves because they're gluten-free. Did I do it?
You good?
Very good.